Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Mark, this is MacGyver's Garage, and today we're going to be working on the TT. So, as you can see, that wheel gap is a little bigger than what we want it to be. So, my son Justin bought some coilovers for it, and today we're going to be taking off the old suspension and throwing the coilovers on. So, let's get to it. Over this way a little. Alright, so we just got the front jacked up, put it on the jack stands, on the two support pads that are up front, and now we will pop off these center caps and get the wheels off. And we know that some of this stuff hasn't come off in a while, so we got some penetrating oil, and I'm going to hit a few of these bolts that we've got to get off and let them sit for a few minutes, just to let this do a little bit of work, because getting these struts out, these front ones are kind of a pain the way that they go in and are kind of pinched in there. So we're going to hit this and see what we can get going. Not yet. Those are the main ones, I think, up here. All right, guys, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on what's going on with the TT and with the coilovers. So, we started putting them in, and we could not get them into the knuckle. The actual sleeve, like where it goes in, was just way too tight, like way too tight. I expanded it, you know, I was putting some screwdrivers and stuff in there and spreading it out as much as possible, and it just wouldn't go in. And so my son Justin reached out to the company that sold them to him, and they're like, nope, those are the right ones. What we sent you are right. It's the only ones we sell for that car. Use a drift, get it open, and get them in. So I did. I bought some pretty big drifts, like this one. This one's pretty big, okay? So I've got this drift, and I've got it wedged in there, and I'm able to get it opened up enough that I can just get it started in. And so here's let me show you the coilover. It's right here. So I get it so that just like the very bottom is in, just barely in. And then I'm able to take a 5-pound sledge and tap on this piece to actually drive it into the knuckle. So here's the knuckle over here. So we're talking about getting it into here, okay? So getting to fit into there. And it took a lot. It took a whole lot to get it in there. But what I found was when I actually pushed it in, the bolt hole is supposed to align with this hole right here. So you've got a hole right here that goes through. You can see right there where my finger is. So there's a bolt hole, and that bolt hole ended up being right about here. This was bottomed out onto the top, and there was still about a 3/8 inch gap from the bottom of this to where it's actually supposed to rest. So this was too wide. First of all, diameter, it was too big. This isn't correct. The length here isn't correct. I don't know which one they actually sent us, what it was actually for, but it is definitely not for this car. And then we run into the problem where, okay, I go to put it back together, and so I get the regular strut, get it put back in there, and get the bolt put back in there, but it has spread it out a lot. I had to spread that thing out quite a bit in order to get it to work. And now as I start to pull it back, what happens? Well, let's take a look. That happens. So as it pulls, this gap had to be expanded out. So that gap was pretty wide. And as I started pulling it back, because it had deformed everything, I've got a big old crack right there. So now we're gonna be replacing the knuckle. So had to find a knuckle. I found it on eBay Motors. Was able to get that ordered. It'll be here beginning of next week. Rock Auto, I got a new wheel bearing and wheel hub because I figured if we're doing it, we might as well just replace that as well, because that one is gonna be a pain in the ass to get out of there. And then we're gonna have to go rent the actual bearing pressing tools to get everything back together. So that's what's going on with this. So it's sitting here. I've got the, I decided to take it all completely apart so that it was just easier to get that in, but then I found out it's not going in. Just isn't gonna work that way. And so that's where we are. So it's gonna be a little while before this thing is actually done. And now we gotta deal with trying to get these guys, it was ordered from the UK, this whole coilover kit. So now we've gotta go through the pain of trying to get them to take these back as a return, because they claim that this is the correct piece, that we are doing something wrong. Not the case. And yeah, as you can see, it didn't work out that well. All right, guys, appreciate you checking this out. If you have any questions, any comments, leave them down below. If you've got any tips, if you've had any of these things, issues pop up, arise, let me know what you've done to fix them. And if you've got an Audi TT Mk1 2006 Quattro and you've done coilovers or changed out the suspension at all, let me know what you went with, and maybe that's what when we exchange these, maybe we'll get something different and throw them in here. All right, appreciate it, guys. See you next time.